With only one round remaining in Worlds, there's so much to talk about and not that much time because it's already late and I really don't have that much time to edit if I don't want to be a total zombie for tomorrow's round, so let's get into it quick. And I have an exclusive interview with AB. Honestly, I can't believe I actually got this. But with that, let's get into it. Kristin has officially DNF'd, stating on her Instagram, "After long deliberation, I decided not to continue playing in Worlds. It is not a choice I made lightly, but it came from a place of true longing and needing time off. This hasn't happened overnight. I've been putting a band-aid to this part of myself for years, pushing forward, assuming this feeling would fade away, but with all the hardships I've faced over the past 2 years, this band-aid has been ripped off," and goes on to state her appreciation. So wow, that is not something I had on my bingo card. I just assumed that she was like really down on herself, really injured, really just, I don't know. For somebody like Kristin to do something like this, you know it had to get really, really bad. So I really hope the best for her. And so with that, let's get into FPO because it was just a lot. And so for lead card, pretty much being the only relevant card because the stroke separation was so deep. Like I think chase card was like 14, maybe 15 strokes back at one point, with the coverage including a lot of chase card, even though they really weren't relevant, just because the coverage was so bad on chase card for everybody but Latamaki. Again, the 15-year-old who just absolutely dominated in the rain with terrible conditions. And it wasn't just good drives, it was consistently phenomenal putts that really put her a step ahead everybody else, getting birdies on a day that pars feel like a challenge. And so through 9 holes, she was 6 under, leading by 11 strokes midway through the round. And at that point I was like, all right, it's a done deal. I truly think if you're 11 strokes ahead of the entire field, it's just gonna be a GG. You won this, congrats, 15-year-old legend. And so I actually stopped watching the card. It's also very hard to watch lead card because there's so many people, I can't really film. But so I just kind of pieced out. She just basically took pars. And again, pars are totally okay if you're leading by that many strokes. But then I rejoined at hole 16. And this is definitely the pinnacle of the entire event. It is hole 16, rounds 4 and 5, because anything can happen at any point, and disaster struck. And not only did disaster strike, it was right after Henna parked it for an eagle. So right after her first throw into the island, it looked like it was just a little bit low, but really not too bad. But it does miss the island, and then she misses again and again and again and one more time, leading to 5 OB strokes that really, if I had to say, did not have the height again and again and again. So I really don't know what was going on in her head, because she has the power, she can throw hyzers, she can do shots that are a little bit easier to make the island, but for whatever reason, maybe she just kind of had a brain freeze. She went dead straight at the basket, which was actually insane how straight it was, because she almost threw it in on the last shot, which would have been a 12, but she did not. So she took a 13 on a par 5, leading to an octuple bogey, putting her just 2 strokes in the lead after being up by 11 strokes at one point. Now she did follow that up with a birdie, and man, if you have the composure to get a birdie after that, you are a very good player. So I think with all things considered, even though after this terrible hole 16, cannot be understated, but having the composure to follow that up with a birdie is phenomenal. And so she still manages to shoot probably one of the best rounds of the day with a 1 over 993 rated. But I think, if I'm doing my math right, this could have been the highest rated FPO round ever. If she did get a par or birdie or eagle, she could have gotten the highest round in FPO history. But the person that is 1 stroke behind her somehow is Henna. And that may sound derogatory, but she did not look good through the entire duration of this round until the very end, where she took birdie, eagle, birdie, leading to a 12-stroke swing for Ita. So that puts her just 1 stroke back of Latamaki. But I need to mention one particular moment that will haunt me forever, and that would be hole 9. It was super rainy, very wet conditions, but Henna has like a 40-footer, which like obviously we don't expect her to make it, but she does rush the putt a little bit because I was about to film. And in that moment of rushing her putt, she just does not get a good grip, and she throws the worst putt I have ever seen. I truthfully have never seen something like that. I think Terry said something like that similar. It was the worst putt ever. And honestly, it feels like the moment in Wii Sports Bowling where like you throw a shot and it actually goes backwards and everyone spins. That's how I felt. I felt like I was about to do a spin because that was just bonkers. So even with that, even though her putting has still been pretty bad this entire event, she is 1 stroke back to the lead and could potentially win this entire event. And speaking of disaster, Owen and Silva did not play great either, leading to Silva not even being on lead card. So on to MPO real quick. First up, I gotta mention Anthony Barela came out of absolutely nowhere on the 3rd card. I started filming him early because he was playing hot, And man, did he play one of the hottest rounds I have ever seen. Going 14 under through 14 holes, it really seemed like he was going to have a perfect round. With amazing putting, perfect drives, even when he kind of shanked and like slipped, he still got to the basket. So everything was clicking. His putts were amazing. There was a putt from a knee on I think hole 11 that he just absolutely drained. And man, if you're hitting those putts, you are feeling very good about your game. But then hole 15, he throws it just a little bit right and it goes out of bounds, which I mean, I could totally understand how that would happen. It is a very tricky hole that you may not think on coverage, but it is actually one of the hardest holes on tour. But then he follows it up immediately with a birdie on 16 and finishes the round at a course record of 15 under. But the reality of him getting 18 under was very, very possible. And what's crazy is that he did not even birdie hole 1, which I mean, that's like the most scoreable hole I think on the entire course. And so that puts him from third card to 2 strokes back of the leader.
Feel pretty good. I think I made something happen. I knew I had to do something crazy today, and to actually execute it feels great.
So on 15, did any part of you feel like you wanted to play it safe? Or are you saying, I'm 14 under, I'm going for it?
Yeah, I don't think I would ever lay that shot up. I mean, I'd got the last 14 in a row. I was like, I just got to trust myself and keep it rolling.
So on 16, you parked it both times. Do you feel like you're a different player than when you were before?
100%. I definitely am dealing with the nerves, like how I've trained myself to do in these last 2 years, and I feel pretty confident on that hole now.
And anything you're going to do differently tomorrow?
I'm going to try to birdie every hole tomorrow, so hopefully I can do that.
And then for the rest of the field, it was looking like Sullivan Tipton might get an early push towards the win, going 7 under on the front 9. He had a pretty big cool off after that with a couple of bogeys and going out of bounds 3 times on the back 9. But I really think if Sullivan can play clean and keep that calm composure that he had, he can definitely make a push towards the win, only being back by 3 strokes. And so that leads us to lead card. Overall, it was a lot of nothing, with basically nobody really crushing it on the front 9, besides Gossage getting some pretty nice birdies in the middle half, including some really nice putts like hole 6. And then after that, for whatever reason, it totally shifted, where Gannon and Ezra really popped off, with Ezra nearly taking the last 6 holes for birdie, and Gannon actually taking the last 6 holes for birdie. Ezra made an insane 50-foot par save on hole 18 in front of the crowds. And so that meant that Nicholas did not have a stellar round, only getting 4 under, putting him 5 strokes back of the leaders. And so going into the final day, it still is almost anyone's game, with the entirety of lead card only being 3 strokes back of each other. So basically, I think if I had to bet, I'm gonna bet on AB because he was just amazing to watch all day. There was never a point that he looked stressed. All these seriously intense death putts were nothing for him. And if he needs to make a comebacker, I'm certain he can as well. Now, obviously, you could say the same about Burr, but I really think in these particular moments on this course, AB is truly built for it. So many lines are incredibly difficult. I mean, I could see Ezra hitting these lines the same way AB does, but I think in this particular moment with this amount of stress, I'm gonna pick AB. And lastly, I cannot reiterate enough how many people were here. I think it had to be 4,000 or 5,000 fans, and that is day 4. The final day is going to be absolutely insane. I truly do not think you can emphasize how many people were there just from watching coverage. It is truly insane, and I definitely think a European Worlds has been so long overdue, and I'm so glad we finally get to see it. So with that, the next recap is almost certainly going to include 2 new world champions. I cannot wait. Wild Runs, signing out. Peace.